Welcome. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Hi, PL. Hello, Mary. Welcome and peace and namaste. I'm Peter Panagore, MDiv, ex clergy. Everybody who's here this morning knows me. Hi there, everybody. Uh, Two-time near-death experiencer, and this is not church. Whatever you say about the divine isn't really true. Talking about it in the negative sometimes help, as we'll see that Jesus does pretty often. Mysticism, no doctrine, no theology, no dogma, no bravo, Sierra. Mysticism abhors institutionalization. One of my concerns is that a religion is going to develop around NDE, and we should not let that happen. Mysticism abhors institutionalization, experience, not belief, even as the Buddha taught. Last Sunday, we reflected on Thomas 26 and Matthew 7:1, commonly called the speck and the beam, and that piece I called the judging and the egoic mind. This week, we build on that as we do pretty regularly now. We're going to build on that as we deconstruct the theologically interpreted words of Jesus in the light of mysticism and reframe them with the mystical meaning that I see in his words, because he sounds like a near-death experiencer to me and has since I came back from the dead the first time. Catholic high school boy, 4 years, a gospel each year. I knew Jesus before I encountered him after my NDE, and he wasn't the same guy. Neither was I, and neither are any of us who have mystical experiences. A mystical experience changes you. It sets you on a different course toward the light. Now, again, this isn't head knowledge that matters. Okay, we talk a lot about head knowledge here, but it's not head knowledge that matters. It's really heart knowledge. This is simply a vehicle for communication to help you on your journey. What really, truly matters is this energy field inside your heart, which is you, which is you. This is where the knowledge is. This is what the wisdom is. Wisdom can't really be spoken in language, but we try to. We do our best. Everybody does. But it can be directed through yourself into your chamber of your heart, into the center of your light space, right? Now, today we're going to look inside the mysticism of Luke 6, chapter 6, verses 37 to 40, as if I've never said that before. 6:37 to 40, in a piece called Beautiful, Good, Abundant. This is a reframing of this pericope. Welcome, one and all. And if you are here and you're new, please make yourself known. And thank you. I think some people did. And let me know if you ever feel the resonance of the divine inside you in the collective, in the Sanga, in this community, because this is really the purpose of this gathering. The knowledge of the head and the deconstruction of the words of Jesus are great guides. But really, it's about the resonance inside us. It has always been that way. And again, the Buddha would agree. If Not Church helps you see more clearly or inspires your heart, please like and subscribe and click the alert bell. Now, we do every week. I'm going to stop here and say hi to folk over here, and then we're going to get jumping into some meditation. PL, Mary, Trace, Helen, Linda, Lucia, Vicky, Jean, Michael, Mary, Root, Judith, Kristen. It's the resonance that you come for. This is, thank you for saying that, Kristen. It's the resonance that you come for. This is really the purpose of what I'm doing here. Not church. It's simply a vehicle to make community, to try to experience this in a Sanga, this Shakipat, this divine energy. And it happens in a group more readily than it does anywhere else. And so Not Church, I developed it as a vehicle for this other thing. The same with Mystic Tea Salon. The same with, well, except for the meditation, that's a little different. But it is also sharing. But that's a cultivating place. This is always a head space, or at least more head. No, that's not always a head space, because the resonance is present. The languaging of the divine I find for myself, let me put it this way. I find for myself, when I speak about the divine from this place inside myself, that the energy flow inside me increases. I feel more, I feel enlightened by it. And that's not the large enlightenment. I'm talking about the enlightening of the soul that Jesus talked about. If you make your eye single, your body will be filled with light. There is an enlightening that happens, a flow, an energy when I talk about it. So I use the language and I use Not Church as a vehicle for this because I know that inside every single one of us, this exists. And my attempt here is to create some kind of mosaic or uh, spider web sort of light net. That's what this is all about. So anyway, welcome. That might be a surprise. So this Sanga is for Shakipat, Shakti, the divine flow, the energy among us. Jesus said, I am there where 2 or 3 are gathered. The I am is here with us, as all you Christians and ex-Christians and never Christians now know is true because you feel it. As we went over long ago now, almost 2 years ago in other videos. The energy, the power, I've been trying to make this incremental. The energy, the power, the Shakti, the Christ consciousness, the oneness of love, light, living inside us is living inside all things, and all things about it are experiential. Knowledge really makes some difference, but not any really difference at all. You don't need head knowledge to find this. And because it's inside of everyone, we can. So we begin with 3 ohms this morning, kind of set ourselves in the vibration of our body. Sound like such a new ager. Vibration of our body. Come on, B. So we're going to feel the vibration. Well, actually, that's what we're going to do. We're going to feel the vibration of the sound in your body. And that sets you in your body. It makes you, you feel right in the center of your throat chakra. And that's right in front of your larynx. I use my larynx. I listen to the feel the larynx moving. That's where I aim for my throat chakra. And then I take the and I drive it up my jaw to the center here, right? The center here, right there. Okay. And then we go into our centering prayer. That's with, I should say yoga is like, so inflating these, but when relax, then it's just diaphragmic breathing for the centering practice. Shoulders don't move. Follow your breath. Use your prayer. If you cannot use your prayer, if you can just listen to your breath, maybe you use your prayer as a chance to get to the place where you just listen to your breath. It's better to listen just to your breath. So the more you can listen to just your breath, if you can already listen to just your breath and keep your mind steady, and if your mind wanders, come back to your breath, give it a whirl, okay? So let's begin and aim for silence using our diaphragmic breathing. And I've got to get back to my place where I was here on my teleprompter because it skipped. I mean, here we go. Okay. Relax. Follow your breath. Luke 6:37-40, reworded for meaning and woven into today's lesson. And it's skipping all over the place on me today. All right, check my settings here. What's going on? I don't know. Settings are correct. Back to Luke 6:37-40. I'm going to start down and look at my teleprompter down below here. That might be the easiest thing for me to do, given that it's skipped to the frickin' end. All right, so peace, everyone. Peace. All right. I'm taking a breath. I don't know about you, but settling back in. But notice that even in the midst of some kind of disturbance, the centering practice keeps one centered and aligned inside the peace. So this is Luke. Oh my gosh, he doesn't want me to do that. So I'm just going to go like this. Luke 6:37-40, reworded and woven into today's peace. Beautiful, good, abundant. Judging leads to being judged. Don't judge, and you won't be judged. Jesus uses the negative. Don't judge, and you won't be judged. Judging leads to being judged. Ever have a friend or a stranger look at you as he listens or she listens or watches something that you did and holds up the hand and communicates with their mouth, hey, no judgment. But the sudden tilt of their neck and the look in their eyes is like, well, WTF, dude. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, dude. Now, how do we not judge? Everyone asks that question. Condemnation leads to being condemned. This is Luke. Condemnation leads to being condemned. Don't convict and you won't be convicted. Don't convict somebody and you won't be convicted. Now, how can I not convict when so many need condemnation? Now, this isn't theoretical, right? We see this every day in the news. Every day we read of murders, mass murders. They don't even call them mass murders anymore. And war, and famine, and economic warfare, and people freezing. How can I not convict when so many need condemnation? I see the state of the world. Forgive and be forgiven. Forgiveness is love, but this isn't human love. This isn't it. Human love is like a portion of it, but all the human love and all the history of all the world and all the love of all the creatures who have the capacity to love on earth, who have ever lived on earth and beyond earth, none of that in total is the total unconditional love. All of it are portions of it, all taken in a mass. Well, take that much of it and you kind of got a good aim. But forgiveness is about this higher love, not this human love. You are made of love. If I have any message to communicate from the other side, it's that. You are made of this unconditional, infinite love to the core of your being. It is who you are. I can't convince you of that because it's not about this. It's really about this. This entire process of spiritual journeying is a journey that you take on your own in the company of others. I follow these teachers because they helped me on my path. Jesus among them most of all. Maybe Rumi's number 2, hey? You're made of love. Mystics, kafir the same, only say what they know, not speculate. Only through experience. The Buddha said the same thing. This can't be communicated in any other way than inside your own journey, in the company of others, because this radiance that connects, it supersedes all there is. All there is this supersedence. This with a capital S with that. We could call the divine the supersedence. Your original goodness, here's the Bible, is in the image of the ineffable. This is a tough saying for people. You are made of the ineffable. You yourself are unspeakable. Not by human tongue, anyway. So, how do we forgive when we're wounded? Real world, Peter. This is the real world. People get hurt here. How do we forgive when we're wounded? It's true. I've been wounded. I carry scars. I still can get wounded. I still have to work through my wounds, the new ones that come in. And they come. Forgive them for their humanity that is the same as yours. Wounded, giving wounds, and being wounded. The same. The same. In sign language, there was this sign. This is same. This was same. Twice, same. Super same. It's a super same thing. It's the same thing. The broken blaming the broken. Radical equality of humanity. We've never overcome this in our tribal social structures. Not even within intra-tribal social structures. The broken blaming the broken. Convicting criminals who break the law, the rule of law, is necessary to safeguard society. We can't have these people running around murdering in Walmart or in schools. We have to protect ourselves. There is such a thing as justice, not that the justice system in the United States shouldn't be examined. But we do have to protect ourselves. And the criminals who break the laws like that, there needs to be some, what I'm saying is that there is a place for judgment like that. But of course, everybody wants to catch the killers before they kill again. Everybody just wants to imprison them. Even for as long as recently 1,067 years for the multiple murders at the parade. 1,067 years. He'll be in eternity long before that. But I won't send him to hell with my thoughts. I won't say, God will get him on the other side. The devil's arms are open. The pitchforks and the fires of hell await him. I don't know. That's the simple thing. Mystics say what they know. There's no speculation in this. What the divine has for that person is what the divine has for that person. I don't condemn the core of their soul because their soul is the same as me and you. At the very essence of our being. This is what Jesus was talking about in Luke. He's not talking about making judgments of other people's behaviors, which, you got to do in this world. You got to be savvy. This is in the world of narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths. You got to be savvy in this world. But this is a different level that we're talking about here. I won't condemn the origin of his goodness to perdition, to damnation, because he is of the essence of the love of the divine. This is what forgiveness is. I won't condemn or convict or damn his soul. I damned myself to the purgative hell that I made for myself with every hurtful action and my thoughts that created those actions and my emotions that created those actions. Karma for me. It was measure for measure. Luke, you get measure for measure. You convict, you get convicted. You judge, you get judged. It's measure for measure. I got what I gave. But it turned out what I gave was much, much larger than I had ever imagined. Wound for wound, I shared what I got. I got what I shared. I received the measurement I had used to measure others as being worthy of my wounding. You are most worthy for my wounding of you. I got what I gave. Karma for me in this life. But the karma of my higher self, I'm made of divine light, as are you. Those wounds were greater than I had ever imagined, and now I live my life differently as a result. I had lived my life until my first death through the blindness of my wounds. Through the blindness of my wounds, I had some awakening. You know this is true, but I still lived through the blindness of my wounds. I was blind to myself. So I judged, I condemned, I convicted, and I wounded others. I still hurt people. I don't damn them to hell with my thoughts. Instead, I see the light inside them. This is everyone, no exceptions. It doesn't mean I'm not hurt by them, okay? I'm still a human being. And it takes work sometimes to remove enough of myself to sit inside myself without the wound festering inside of me. That's what I use my meditation for. That's what I use my chant for. I prevent these festering wounds from taking hold of me. And then I bless them. We've been talking about this for weeks. Instead of condemning them, I bless them. I send non-linguistic light energy. That's a terrible thing to say if it sounds like I'm so, like, I send light energy, man. That's what I do. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but this light energy is what they are. I can't help it if they're blind and they can't see. I still send it to them because it has not to do with their bodies and reception of it. It has to do soul to soul. Back then in heaven, when I died that first time, I forgave all the people I had wounded. All I forgave all the people that I had wounded in my life. I forgave them of all of the pain that they had caused me. This is an inversion of it, okay? I have not talked about this before. I forgave them as I was forgiven by the divine. There was a reciprocity there. I wounded them. I felt their pain. The forgiveness came to me, and I forgave them for the pain that I perceived. It wasn't real pain. I mean, it wasn't, well, maybe it was real, but it wasn't, not in compared to the divine, not in compared to the oneness of being. I found myself forgiving the wounds that they had given me through the love that was being given to me. In an instant, it was gone, healed and whole and over, vanished. I carry that with me now. This is why I've pursued this path my lifetime. My wounds caused me to wound those I loved before I died, and I didn't see it. And I had an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and a bone for a bone, a measure for a measure. I judged myself and hell with the own measurement that I wounded people with, and heaven forgave me, healed me. and welcomed me and still heals me and still welcomes me. I was afraid I was going to lose this welcome when I came back. I had a fear. I did not fear death. I did not fear. Once you don't fear death, how can you be afraid of anything in life? But I did have a single fear. My fear was that I would lose this connection, this paltry, thin thread that I had. And so I wove a rope in my lifetime. That's what meditation does. It weaves a rope. The overpouring, self-evident love, O-S-E-L, capital overpouring, self-evident love, made this choice easy. Accept this gift as offered. I was forgiven and I forgave. Love loved me. This is my center of what I want in my eternity of now, the measure of which is immeasurable. I've not been to the end of it. It's infinite. But the measure presented here is itself immeasurable. You can't measure it with words. Can't measure it with ideas. Can't get out your mixing cup and pour it inside and say, oh, that's 16 ounces. Now that I'm back in this life again, I learned that I gain it by giving it away. I gain forgiveness as I forgive others. I gain love as I love others. I gain light as I send the light to others. As we have often discussed, I give away my attachment to my identity, allowing my false self to be consumed by this purgative fire of forgiveness, and then give away this endless supply of the wealth of heaven given to me, through me, from heaven, not my wealth. This is the power of it. It's not my wealth. It's not my light. This light supersedes the whole of me to the core of my being. Same as you. The trick is really to remove oneself as best one can. This isn't about perfection, because there is no perfection here. We are in the mortal realm, the heaven of the mortals. Graduation is death. Preparation for graduation is now. The more Shakti or Prana or Chi or Holy Spirit inside of me, the more I see others as myself, the more I have to give away. It comes right back to this centering place again. The action of forgiveness has a psychological and emotional component to it, and we know that's true. The depth of the practice is the giving away of yourself. The more I give away of myself, the more I have of this light and forgiveness to give away as I get out of the way. So I practice getting out of the way. I went to see my mom yesterday. It's been a long time since I visited my mom. I got grandparent duties here. Love that, but still, it's a long way to go. I chanted on the way. That's my point. I shut off the music. I drove and I chanted inside myself. And I entered into the now space of driving, the awareness of the presence of my driving. I like doing that. And when I get bored, it's because I'm not paying attention. The measurement you use in life will measure you. That's what Jesus said. That's what happened to me. Will it happen to you? I don't know. Doesn't happen to every NDE or Christian context in my life. I don't know what, I know that I'm not that thing even in my death. I saw the origin of myself. So this body, this life, had some kind of Christian death. In death, I was measured by the measure I used to measure others in life. In death, I was measured by the measure I used to measure others in life. So in life, again, I strive to increase my inward size so that I may have more kindness, compassion, charity, and peace to give away. And the more I practice this, why? I say peace to people all the time. I have an itchy nose. What does that mean? I say peace to people all the time. Why do I do that? Because it brings me peace when I say it. It brings a moment of peace to them too, perhaps. Certainly surprise. But as I pray a peace be upon you, the Muslims say. May peace be upon you. This is what I'm saying. And what it does for me is I have this other prayer practice. And then one day it just overflowed, and my heart, it's like a magic treasure room. The more I empty it, the fuller it becomes. To get it, with a capital I, give it away. And that's real world. It's simple. To get it, give it away. Because that's this corollary to the convict and be convicted. You give away conviction, you get convicted. You get weight upon the soul. You give away blessing, you take that weight off. It's a different kind of karma. Both are karma. This is a different kind of karma. This is the additioning. This is the adding rather than the subtracting. The teacher said, you'll get a beautiful measure, shaken together, pressed down, overpouring into your heart. This is what you get from forgiveness. We're in the same passage in Luke. You're going to have to read, if you really want to know what the other translators say, then pull out your Bible and take a look at this passage. But this is what he was talking about. The teacher, Jesus said, if you'll get a beautiful measure, and beautiful is a word that comes from the lexicon that is a corollary word to good in Koine Greek. You get a good and beautiful measure. I chose you'll get a beautiful measure because heaven is beautiful. You'll get a beautiful measure, shaken together, pressed down, overpouring in your heart. Beautiful, good, abundant, condensed, overflowing, out of which naturally arises the morality of forgiveness and non-judgment. Hey, no judgment. Or out of which naturally arises the morality of forgiveness and non-judgment. When one sees one's wounded mortality through the inner eye, one sees the quality of humanity giving wound for wound and the blind harming themselves. The inner eye naturally sees the light inside the self and inside others. One place is the other place. Not this, not that, netty, right? Not this body, not that body. This inexpressible light thing, this seeing that goes inside and outside, that the blind can't see, and it's not their fault. Don't try to shake them awake. They can't be awoken that way. If they could, they'd all be awake. Then he told a parable. Jesus, he told this parable. Can the blind lead the blind? Won't they both fall into a pit? People with physical blindness, they know that they're blind. Hey, mister, stop. Don't you see the curb? Oh, thank you. No, I didn't see the curb. I'm blind. Thank you. You saved me today. They know they're blind. Unlike the spiritually blind who don't know they can't see. They don't know they can't see. It's not their fault. So I'm blind. I have blindness here. It's degrees of blindness here. It's not just full awakening. I can't find fully what I had there here. I can't. It's still filtered unless I'm in this divine centered space. Inside the space itself, it is itself. Every time I'm not there, it is filtered. And the veil presents itself as levels of blindness. So just to be clear, the blind are us. So that it's degrees, so that the darkness, I'm going to go back a sentence here. They know that they're blind, unlike the spiritually blind who don't know that they can't see. The spiritually blind, they don't know. So blind that the darkness, with a lowercase d, it seems like light, capital L, through their reasoning minds. It's so dark here that even the light appears through the reasoning's mind. And then they take the reasoning mind for the light itself. Knowledge is not the solution here. It really is this higher self. The higher self is its own solution. The blind are in their own way. That's my problem too. I've always been in my own way. The only way is for me to get out of the way. It's not their fault. And someone asked me the other night, "Oh, I want to shake them awake." And I'm like, hey, it's probably DNA. And so it's socializing and religion and society and necessity of staying alive and fear. Egoic mind is probably behind it too. What better way to survive in the world than to disguise that you're not from here in order to focus all of your attention on being alive inside the world? So, would you judge a physically blind person for their blindness? Like they're morally deficient? Who sinned that he was born blind? This person once asked Jesus. Blindness used to be a moral deficiency back in certain societies. All illness was. This is true even today. Oh, you must have caused your cancer. Would you judge a physically blind person for being blind? No, no more than you would judge a woman with breast cancer for causing her double mastectomy. The spiritually blind can't see and can't be convinced to see. They can't be convinced, so maybe cut them some slack. Cut them some slack. At the moment of death, they will see for themselves, and it's always much closer than people think. This moment of transition, it sits on my shoulder like a little tiny. Sometimes it's a gargoyle. Sometimes it's a. No, I'm making that up. It can be a smiling gargoyle. Sometimes smiling, and sometimes like no. It's always smiling. What am I saying? Death is my buddy. Death is my little buddy here. My little buddy here takes away the fear of living. It takes away the need to condemn the souls of others. Jesus said that the teacher is above the student, but everyone who gets ready and prepares will become like their teacher. He creates a radical equality of spirituality between himself and his disciples. I want you to think about that, all you salvationists out there. He said the teacher is above the student, but everyone who gets ready and prepares will become like their teacher. Not above, not below, the same as. So, who wants to be an enlightened master like Jesus. Who wouldn't want that? The teacher told his disciples that they could each arrive at his advanced level, not above, not below. The pupil becomes like the teacher and becomes like an enlightened teacher. That's what like means. It has, a 1 watt bulb and a 1000 watt bulb, but the light is still the same. It still illuminates the self. Become like your teacher. Become like me, he told them. Become like me, he told them. How? Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away. Don't be a doormat. Have boundaries. Protect yourself. Don't hurt yourself by giving until you break. Refill yourself daily. Call the peace into yourself. Fill your belly. And then live as peaceably as possible inside yourself, and as peaceably as possible, showing compassion and kindness where possible in life. Where possible. Protect yourself. Don't be a sheep among wolves. Be smart. Expect failure. Try again. Let thy will be my will. Let thy will be my will. Let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We covered that a couple weeks ago. Here it is again. Let me become you. This is the practice of meditation. This is the pursuit of my yoga. Next week, and my community sharing together with each other, not just here. I know I know you're out in the world. I know you have other teachers. I know that you're connected to other light communities. Bring this with you. Bring the light radiance with you and share it with those in the other communities who will then share theirs with yours. This light essence is the connective tissue, the fiber optic cable of the world. And it's sourced in you. Next week, we're going to cover Thomas saying 27 as we work through the Gospel of Thomas, a lens through which to see the other Gospels in the Bible. This is why we're doing this. I want you to see Jesus in a full new way in your head. So then maybe you can, so that then your heart can hear the truth that he's speaking underneath his words. Like this radical equality, you can become like me. Not above. Jesus, not like unreachable. Master, unreachable. I can, am I going to have to die on a cross too? Probably not. But I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And there you are too. And that's graduation. And as we approach graduation, as we spend time inside ourselves, bringing compassion and kindness into the world, sourced through the source itself, we have an opportunity to nudge the world. Remember that. It really isn't about me. It's not about the me, or it's about the us. It's about the us with a capital U. That's why we spread it. To get it, give it away. Give away yourself to the divine. Give away the divine to others. As St. Francis once said, I preach the gospel at all times, but sometimes I use words. The energy. Next week, we're going to cover Thomas saying 27, which scholars call abstinence from the world. Abstinence from the world. We're always talking about that. So thanks for spending time with me here this morning. Thank you for my recurring, sometimes, and new givers over on PayPal, Patreon, Venmo, and Zelle. I persist financially here because your gifts enable me to do all I do for the boss and for you. Visit peterpanagore.love. You'll find all sorts of links there. Thanks for your feedback. I love feedback and your assistance and your input, community. I listen to what you guys say. Like, then anyway, dear community, join us on Mondays and Wednesdays on YouTube for our 30-minute teaching from the mystics, global mystics, and our centering practice. And on Tuesdays for a more profound practice and conversation on deeper aspects of the mystical lives. Don't you think? I think so. I think it's like, well, anyway, come and find out for yourself. Ritual practice builds discipline. Ritual practice builds discipline, and discipline is what opens the heart. So next up at the top of the hour is Mystic Tea Salon, where our community sourced wisdom from our mystical experiences. We do that in conversation, and you can find the link just down there in the description. Thanks for being here. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And I'm going to come over here and take a look at, I talked a long time today, take a look at thanks for hanging out, at the chat. And then with 5 minutes to spare, I'll stop before the top of the hour if we get stuff to talk about over here. And I might need my glasses to read this. We'll see. Let's do this. Yeah. I don't know where to begin. I guess I'll begin at the bottom. So let's see. Good morning, Sophia. Helen, amazing and profound truth. Thank you, Helen. It's working with Jesus here. What did he know? What did Jesus know anyway? Working with Jesus here. He really was a master. He really knew what he was talking about. And once we disconnect him from the theological, when we disconnect him from that, we find that actually he knew what he was talking about. It's amazing. Hidden there in plain sight all these centuries. You all are very kind. Thank you. I'm not giving up. I can't go back. I was never mentally or spiritually in with what they wanted me to be. I have to find who I was meant to be. I'll get there. See, Will. Don't know what's going on there, but something. Thanks for community for being there for him. I see. Painful memories. I'm skimming way back up. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Jill, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Didn't see it when it came in. Let's see. Skimming down. New here. Oh, hi, see, Will. You're new here. I've been deconstructing for months now, feeling lost. Welcome, says Kristen. You're among friends. Everybody's saying welcome. That's great. See, Will, deconstruction, reconstruction has been the hardest thing I've ever done. The most rewarding, says Jimmy. It's difficult. It's difficult because when you do deconstruction, it's not just Jesus and the Bible you're deconstructing. It's self-identity. It's a commitment that many Christians made to their self-identity through the lens of these mistaken theological teachings. It's not easy, see. I know this. Hey, namaste, Brother Ed, Candyman. Not here by accident. Check out Richard Rohr, John Fazio. Check out Richard Rohr book. Yes, and Brian McLaren, ex-fundamentalist. Good suggestions there. Just back from a 3-minute from Edinburgh. One darn miracle after another. Nice to hear. Can we discuss the difference between judgment and discernment? Discernment and insight are important. Judgment has an emotional component. Discernment is insight or observation with emotion, without emotion. Discernment is insight or observation without emotion. Thanks for bringing that in, Lucia. Discernment is insight or observation without emotion. It is excellent. I mean, that's reasoning at its best. Thank you for bringing that in. Thank you very much. To me, judgment is the ego to create, and separation and discernment is from the heart, deeper understanding. There is a discernment that comes with the heart too, and it's It's both things. Judgment says they're wrong and I'm right. Discernment says that's not for me. The energy of perfection is wonderful. It's the holiness within us reaching for God. We can use that energy in a healthy way, pressed down and brimful. You're bringing back memories. See, I had a long, lonely, painful crisis of faith. It was a long journey back to something like faith. To say it's not for me is just another form of judgment. Actually, it is for you, us. If one listens carefully, there is truth with a capital T in what is being spoken to you. If we can tune our hearts to God's source, then we can hear the truth, capital T, coming from our brother or our sister. This is true. That's what we do here. That's what we're aiming for. It's not about the language. It's not about the wisdom of Jesus. It's this other thing. It's this other thing. It's this divine Holy Spirit. Call it that if you want. If you did, call it that. It has no name, but it is experiential. In my NDE, I heard the music of heaven. Amen to that. It was made of light. I've heard a few others name this music too. I've been in the music too. Not in my NDE, but subsequently. Made of light. Music made of light. That is such a beautiful communication. Thank you. Just what I needed to hear this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Profound. Thank you, Kitya. All right, my friends. I've read through the blessings to everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ellen. Love the love here. Thank you, Peter, and all. Peace to you all. I'll see you at the top of the hour with Mystic Tea Salon. Link below. You're welcome, Maria. Namaste, KC. Peace to everybody. Peace. Christina. You're welcome. Maria.